Hey, Young Life leaders. My name's Kyle Bush, and I've been volunteering with Young Life for about a decade now, kind of on and off here and there. Most recently in Colorado Springs, I volunteer at a high school called Air Academy. It's on base at the United States Air Force Academy, which is super fun. Whenever I drive there, I can see a bunch of cool planes and people falling out of the sky with parachutes and stuff. It's pretty neat. It's a unique experience. I also work for Young Life. I'm on the marketing team. I help local areas tell their stories at their events and things in a way that's effective. So um, I wanted to take a second, encourage you guys, and just let you know that I'm there with you. I'm tired. I'm frustrated. I'm hurting because ministry is just so hard right now. But I am also encouraged by what God is doing and what He has been calling me to, and what He has been teaching me in the last couple of weeks. Um, and that is fasting, and the whole topic of fasting. Um, Ash Wednesday is this Wednesday. It's kind of wild, snuck up on me, and it starts Lent season. The Lent season is where we take 40 days and fast in some kind of fashion. You know, it's definitely more popular in like the Anglican and Catholic churches, but I think it's a good practice for all of Christians. So that 40 days is meant to reflect the 40 days that Jesus was in the wilderness being tempted by Satan before, according to the account of Luke, he began his ministry. That's literally the next subtitle after he gets back from the wilderness. So, one of the things that God has been pulling me to, reading this book with my leadership actually. It's my dog, sorry about that. Hey, buddy, hush. Um, One of the things that is in this book is it talks about when Jesus begins this 40 days, it says he was led by the Spirit into the wilderness. And when he returns, it says he returned in the power of the Spirit. And so there has to have been something that happened through his fast where he um, just became one with that power, right? That power of the Spirit. Um, and I want to tap into that, and I want to know what that is because I want that power for my ministry. I want it for my life. I want it um, just for the day to day, right? I want to know what that is. And so fasting, I wanted to say this as well, is not an if thing. Jesus, when he teaches, he says, you know, when you pray, or when you do this, when you do this. And one of those things is when you fast. It's not an if. It is very much so a when you fast, as if it is an expectation. So as a believer, as a Christian, this is something that we can do to get closer to him, to be more in tune with his Spirit, to know him better. It's expected of us. So four things happen when we fast, according to this book. One, we develop a deep and complete dependence on the sustaining strength of God, right? Satan tempts Jesus because he's very hungry. He says, why don't you just turn the stone into bread? And Jesus says, man does not live on bread alone. He lives on every word that comes from the mouth of God. Because God's word is sustenance. So we need to know that, and we can better know that through fasting. Two, we will learn how to fight with the sword of the Spirit. One of the ways that Jesus continues to fend off Satan and his temptations is through knowing the word, right? He says, it is written, it is written, it is said. Like that is his number one defense because the Bible is his authority. The scriptures are his authority. And he knows it well. So we need to know it well, and we become more acquainted with it through a season of fasting. Three, we will learn to resist and defeat the devil. At one point, Jesus literally looks at Satan and says, get out of here, right? Because Satan is like, hey, if you worship me, all this is over, and I'll give you, you know, authority over all the kingdoms here because they've been given to me for now. And Jesus says to him, the scriptures say you must worship the Lord your God and serve only him. And so after Jesus says, get out of here, Satan literally left. So we learn that perseverance and just kind of that toughness to be like, no, Satan, like, I'm going to do what's right. I'm going to follow Jesus in this situation. Um, if you're a fighter, you kind of develop that tough chin. So, and number four, when we return or conclude our fast, we will be in the power of the Spirit. And so I really want to know what that looks like. I've tried fasting in the past, and I haven't done very well, at least on like the food front. Social media, I think, is a little bit too easy for me, at least at this point. And maybe that's something that might speak to you a little bit too, like when you've done your fast, or you're actually giving something up. But I hope that as we enter this season of Lent, you know, we've got a couple of days, that we would take that invitation seriously to give something up so that we might get more of God, that we can develop deeper dependence, that we can learn how to fight with the sword of the Spirit, that we learn to resist, and that we could return from that season in the power of the Spirit, whatever that might look like, whatever Jesus is calling you to. So I hope that's encouraging to you guys. Keep going. You know, Jesus sees everything. Um, I think it's Solomon in Ecclesiastes who talks about how everything is vanity, and it feels like that has just defined the last year for me. But because of Jesus, nothing is vanity. So, love you guys. You're heroes. Keep going. God bless.